Hey, how's everybody doing today? Hope you're having a great day. Today I'm going to embark on a little installation into one of my guitars again. Very similar to what I did in one of my other videos, installing a HyVibe system. This is the controller into one of my guitars. This is a little bit different today because we're going to focus on something specific about this install. This is a 12 string that I'm going to try to do it on this time instead of a 6 string. So I'm kind of excited how that's going to sound. But what we're going to do is I'm going to take out, this was the, I've already taken this out so you don't have to see that part of it. This was the built-in EQ amplifier for this guitar that came with it. This is a real cheap, actually, Mitchell guitar, but I love it. It's a great guitar. I only paid like 199 bucks for it. Thing's been awesome. It was one of those deals. I walked into Guitar Center to buy a set of strings and walked out with a 12-string guitar and a drum kit. How about that? Okay, before I continue on, I have to make a confession here. So I recorded this whole video and I went back and looked at it, and this one section of video that was super important on where I explain why I'm doing this and the whole reason behind all this, it got replaced by a few still shots. So my video camera, I don't know, did whatever it did. So now I have to go back and I do a little spoiler alert to show you the end product and kind of explain what I'm doing in the rest of the video. But so the whole thing is that little module that I removed, the EQ module from the original guitar, was in a location, you saw the hole. This is after I've done the install, but imagine this isn't here. The hole was up near the top portion of the guitar, and here's what the ring. Let's see. I'm trying to see how you can see this. See, there's a curve to this this buffer plastic ring that they give you, and that curve matches the curve of the top of the HyVibe controller. So if I would have tried to mount this directly over this hole that existed up here, the problem is it rocks so far forward and back. I would have had to make up, I don't know if you can see that, let me move it there, see that big gap in the template, and if I swing it down, then I got a huge gap down at the bottom. So what I had to do is take this little ring and slide it down the body to find out where it matches the curvature of the body. Let's see if I can get closer and show this. So you see, if I would have mounted up here where the hole is, then I'd have to deal with this big rocking situation. My fingers are really in the way, aren't they? But as I slide down the body of the guitar, then it matches perfectly. So that's what I had to do, and what I end up with is half of the original hole is going to be visible. Now, just a few minutes ago, I had covered this with black electrical tape for a temporary thing. I will eventually do something a little nicer looking, maybe. I might buy a shiny gloss black vinyl sticker and cover it, because honestly, when I put the electrical tape over it, it didn't look that bad, and nobody's going to see this but me. So anyway, the whole reason of doing this video and showing you the install is because I want to show you how you can connect the cables to the controller, set it in this way, and rock it down into the hole. With the original template that HyVibe gives you, this is, I have one, let me put this down so I can show you. I have, they give you a template, piece of paper with 2 templates on it. This is one of them. I cut the other one out. But with the template that they give you, when you cut that out, it's only enough for the controller to fit in straight in. You can't connect the cables on and expect it to rock down in. There's not enough room. So what I did is, on this other template, before I cut it out, I extended it. I'll show it to you next to the original one. You see the length over here is extended by 5 millimeters. So it's similar, and you can see the original line here where the template ended, and I drew another line out here and made it that much longer. The reason I knew why to extend it 5 millimeters, because my emerald that they sent me, which you might have noticed, my guitars have moved all around. It's over on this other wall. This emerald right there. The way they did the install, and it's down here, they were able to put it in and rock it in with the cables attached. So the whole point of doing this is to verify that I can create a template of the right size, and I've been talking with the guys at HyVibe about this, about extending this so you can stick it in and rock it in. That saves you the hassle of having to drop the unit in and then reach your arm in through the hole and try to attach all the cables after you've got it mounted, which was very difficult to do. I did it on the Ovation in my other video, but the advantage to the Ovation is the holes in the back, and you got much easier access than you do for a guitar with the hole in the top. But the point is, let's continue on what you're going to see, and I'll show a couple pictures if I can get them into the video that shows where I put tape on the guitar. So I'm putting blue tape on where I'm going to cut. So I put tape that shows I got blue tape, and then I show the outline of the existing hole, and then I outlined what the new hole is going to be like. You see them overlapping, and then I go back and I put my template back on, and then I start to drill the holes in the next video. So I'm sorry, I hope that's not too confusing, but that's why I want to jump forward, give you a little spoiler alert, show you what the end product's going to look like, which you'll get to see at the end of the video, and then we'll go from there. All right? All right, everybody, so I realized after I recorded that last little bit that instead of just cutting and then trying to round out the edges, that I mentioned these drill holes that they had before. So what I should be doing is taking this, they say 10 millimeter bit. I don't have any metric ones. A 3/8 is pretty close. It's a hair smaller. So what I'm going to do is take a drill bit and drill out these 4 corners to make our rounded corners. I'm actually going to take a smaller bit first, and then we'll do that. And then once I get those drilled out, then I will actually cut it, like I said. So I'm going to I taped my template back on here so I can see where the crosshairs are, where I need to drill, and I will just do that. So here goes nothing. All right, there we go. I will switch to the bigger bit. I'll actually take this template off here now that I have my holes started. I know where to drill. So there we go. All right, let's drill some big holes here. using my clamp here. Right. Oh, that was not what I wanted to do. All right, so let's table that one for later. We'll fix that. Okay. Well, things don't always work out as planned. It's not tragedy. So that's not exactly what I wanted to happen there, but I'll show you we'll work around it. Alright, so what happened is these corners were too close to the edge of the existing hole, so it popped off. So what I'm just going to have to do is go back to the plan of cutting with the Dremel, and we'll see how that works. What I'm going to attempt to do is try to hold on to the shop vac and the Dremel at the same time. So it'll be interesting. Let's get all these tools out of my way. Okay, well, that was fun. The bit actually broke on me at some point, right near the end there. Don't know if you saw that. Little chips. I guess we got lucky that nothing bad happened there. So at this point, what I did, this hole is not actually close enough. This one should be. So I might have to do a little bit more cutting and maybe use a different tool to get closer. Because I thought this would have broke at this point. So what I'm going to do is get a different bit on there. All right, here we go. We're going to try to finish this again. I got a new bit on here. Let's wrap this back up again. And just like that, break another one. So at this point, I know all three of these are cut all the way through, so it should be weak enough. See that? That I should be able to break this. There. Exactly where I want it. Okay. That's good. So now I can just touch up the edges with a sanding disc. I think this is going to work out better. Yeah, it's too small. Yeah, might be a little bit big, but we'll try it. Okay. Okay, so this is where we're at. I'll try to get a little bit closer here so you can see. What I did is put a piece of tape across here so you can imagine what it would look like without the hole. And I'm going to show you what my objective was here. I took out the connector piece for the ports at the bottom of the guitar, and I wired it up just so I can drop it in and see if the proof of concept is going to work here. And I'll show you what I'm getting at. So if I stick it in here, what I want to be able to do is rock this down in. Now at first when I did it, let me get closer so you can see, I had this butted up to the back end where my thumb is at, and I rocked down and it's hitting. And I was like, oh damn, I gotta take off more. But the reason I put the cables on is because I knew there's a little bit of space in between the cables and the top of the frame. So what it allows me to do on this back end is lift it up. I can do this without the camera. Let me get around this way. And if you can see, I can... sorry, this camera stand is giving me fits. So I can lift it up some. There's a better view of it. You see, I can lift up some. That gives me some room. Now when I lift it up, if I push back, I just barely have enough room to swing it in. That's exactly what I'm looking for. Now, if I didn't have that hole there, you'd have wood that went all the way across. That's where I put the piece of tape. So what I'm going to do now, to make this a little bit more clear and evident, so I'm going to take all the blue tape off. I'm going to replace that front section with some electrical tape, and it'll look a little bit more representative of what it should look like if I didn't have this gaping hole in the front here to deal with. That's where I ended up with after the cutting. That little sanding wheel that I used made it's a little bit bigger radius hole than I should have had. So see, these kind of go in a little bit more than I would have liked them to. And then this little corner here chipped off just a little bit. Other than that, it's pretty clean. I'm pretty happy with that. So yeah, let me try to put some electrical tape on this. Better than having a gaping hole. And it kind of looks good with the... I thought this is the piece that I cut out. If I would have been a little bit more careful and not touched the Dremel on the actual finish, then I might be able to use a piece of this to fill in this area. It's too bad I messed up the finish on it, because I might have been able to use that. Yeah, it's still not completely out of the question. We'll see. That's for another project. Okay, so at this point, I think the hole looks good. The next thing to do is to figure out where the screw holes will need to go in, and I should probably go ahead and drill the hole for the. There it goes, rocks in. And then what I want to make sure get up close here so you can see the profile. The curvature to the body of the guitar works out really well with the curve on the bottom of the HyVibe. So I'm pretty happy with that. Now what I don't want to happen, see on the back side here, you see where I can see down that slot? So I am going to have to slide this back enough to cover the edge of that line, at the same time making sure I don't expose the line on the front. That's the bad part of having this longer hole, is I'll have to be really careful to make sure I cover both lines front and back. Of course, I'm not going to do this with, I'm not going to have it permanently mounted with the black electrical tape, but for now it's not bad. Okay, so the next thing I'll do is I'm going to take a couple of these screws, stick them through the holes, make some marks, find out where I'm at on the body, and then I'll have an idea of what I need to do to screw it into the body. The back side of this has a padded sticker already. So I'm kind of having to push through that. I am hitting the body. What I'm curious about is how much of the body I'm hitting. If it's too close to the edge of the hole and it wants to slide down in the hole, then what I'll have to do is use that little plastic ring and sandwich that in between the body. Oh, that one actually bit in. And if it is going to bite in, it might not be a bad idea to do the one side first before I make the marks in the other one. All right, here we go. So this is a little bit closer than I expected. Let's see if I can zoom in and see right in front of my little fingertip there. I don't know if this is going to be very in focus, but you see a little dot there. That's where the screw's hitting. That's a little bit too close to the edge than I would be comfortable with. And over on this side, I didn't even get a mark. So I think I'm going to have to end up using this ring template here. And I'll probably have to touch a couple spots where the screws go in to get the screws to pass through. And I'll just have to end up doing what they did on the Emerald. But I'm going to switch gears here and install this cable system into the base of the guitar. So what I'm going to do is swing this around, and we'll do a quick drill session here. I'll swing it around so you can see it. So what I've done on the back here is I've marked where I want to put it. I put sorry, let's drop this down. There we go. So I've got a pencil line and crosshair right there in the center. So that's where I'm going to drill it. They show using a 40mm hole saw in the instructions. I used a hole saw on the Ovation. Still a little messy, and I think a Forstner bit would be better. So I'm excited to use this. Happen to have a set of these. So I'm going to go ahead and drill this guy, see how it goes. Okay, that was a little nerve-wracking, but I think the end product is good. Okay, so let's see how close we are here. Looks like my bit walked a little bit. Shave a little bit of this excess stuff here. You see right along the edge here, and you can see where it's light. I'll have to end up vacuuming out the guitar, but I'm gonna try to feed this in here. See how close we are. What you got here is a get closer to the back of this. See, there's like a lip, a circular ring around there. You want to make sure that that actually seats inside the guitar. And it doesn't. So I didn't have 40 millimeter, I had 1.5 inches, which is close, but not close enough. So now I'm going to have to take my Dremel little sanding wheel and make that just oh so much bigger. Okay, here we go. Let's make some noise again. So I used an 1.5 inch bit. It said for 40 millimeters. 40 millimeters is just, I think 1.5 inches is, or 40 millimeters is like 1.57 inches. So I only need to take off probably about 1 millimeter all the way around. So let's see what we can do here. Alright, so lucky I am. Why is he fighting me? Goodness. Oh. And that's it. Wow. That was easier than I thought. Nice flat fit. Okay. So I'm going to screw that in. I'll make sure that it's lined up with the face and square. And then I think I'm ready to just screw that in. Okay, it's just the final. I put these in with a drill, but went really slow, didn't tighten them down. I'm going to tighten by hand. And then that's it. Okay, so there we go. That part's done. So what that leaves, well, I got two things. Just back around, put the actuators in probably next, and then we'll finish off with the controller. So the actuators, I did this in the other video, but these guys we're going to glue in approximately here and here. I'm going to just for kicks, stop here and get a flashlight. And I'm actually going to put the camera in so we can figure out where the best place is to put this. Okay, if you haven't seen this before, I'm going to actually stick the camera in here so you can see what the bracing looks like. And where we're going to put this. So, looking down from the top, the right side of the bridge, I'll have to put it on the other side of that big brace, in between those other two little braces. And then on the left side, same sort of thing. Looks like there's a little spot that I can hopefully stick those. So let's stick this back on here. Reach my hand in so I can get a feel of that. Let's just make sure it's going to sit flat. Yeah, I think that will work fine. So what I'm going to want to do is put this one there and the other one there. Try to do it so the wire is probably in the front. Yeah, so it feels like this is where the piezo comes down. I'm guessing it's right about in here. So there and there should give me enough space for the wires to spread apart. Alright, so that's the plan. I'll do that. You don't need to see this part of it because you won't be able to see inside. Okay, so I thought, well, maybe if you haven't seen this before, I've already glued the first one in, and this is the second one, and I thought I'd show you what I'm using. I'm just using Loctite super glue. That's actually what they recommend. And this inner plastic piece is what mounts to the guitar. And then it moves up and down on that. So I'll just show you what I'm going to do is make a thin layer of super glue on this. Hopefully you can see this well enough. And then I put it in there, put it in position and hold it there. There we go. Hold that. Cap that off, and then nice thing about this hole, I can look through the mounting hole for the controller and see what I'm doing. And then at this point I'm just going to count 60. Okay, that's 60 seconds. Kind of give it a slight wiggle test. Wires aren't too tight. All right, I'm going to show you where I'm looking through the hole. My cord will reach this long. Yeah, you can't see it that well. Let's take the camera off the stand. I'll go back in like I did before so you can see the end product. There There's the one mounted, and there's the other one. Piece of cake. Okay, just so you know what I'm doing on this next part, what I've decided to do, I stuck the light in here so I can look down. Oh, come on, cable, cooperate with me. I don't know if you can see the hole. I've drilled out the holes in the controller. It had a little bit of padding on the back side. I wanted to make sure it was a clear hole through. And when I look down, I put the flashlight on the inside, so now I can look down through all four of these holes and I can see a little bit of light. There's like half guitar, half wood, half light. So it's not going to work, obviously, for me to drill or screw directly into the body. So what I'm going to do is take my drill. I also wanted to make sure this back line here where my thumb is at, if I had it slid forward, I don't want to see how the light's shining through. Sorry, I don't want to see that, so I'm going to move this back until I don't see any light. And that's going to be my reference point for there. I took my tape off front so I can see the line. I also don't want to screw it tight with tape under there, because I'll add tape to it later. So what I'm going to do at this point is hold this where I want it, make sure this front edge is parallel with the top of the guitar, and then I'm going to take a small drill bit and drill down through here so the wood is not impeding the screws to go down. And then I'm going to end up using this little plastic ring on the back side. So that's what we'll do. Okay, so that's what I ended up with. I got the screws in there. Funny thing is, screws actually go in pretty tight. So now I'm going to have to take them out. Just to let you know, a little hint, if you're doing this, when you drill one hole, because they're right on the edge of the wood, when you go to another hole, it might want to move it on you. So what I did is I put the screws in to hold each one in place, so when you screw the other ones, it doesn't move the whole unit on you. That one's really loose, because the threads are kind of biting into the edge of the wood where I drilled the holes. Alright, so there you can see where I've got holes on all four corners, like that one's barely touching the wood. So what I'm going to do now is pull the screws out. I'm going to connect the cables first, but don't forget you got to put this ring on. You got to make sure that the curve matches. So what I got to do for this is I got to feed the wires through this template plate first. You got 5 wires to contend with here. There's 4, and then the piezo is the 5th. So what I want to do here, this is how it's supposed to be oriented. Put that on first. Yeah, that's right. Okay, so here we go. piezo goes in there. The actuators goes in the far left here. You make sure the little notch is at the bottom. They're a little tough to plug in. I checked this earlier, by the way. The in and out is color coded, white and black. White is in, black is out. I just looked at it down at the connector plate. You can tell which one goes to which by just tracing the wire. Okay. So, of course this makes this difficult. Now I know why. When I took my emerald apart, I noticed this little piece was cut. The little plastic piece was cut. And that's because when they go to put it on with the cables on, you can't swing it around the bottom. So that's not going to work. So my options are to slide it up there first before you put the cables in, but if you do that, then you're not going to be able to fit it down in there. Even as it is right now, what I really need to do is have this down in there, swing this down in, and then attach the template from below, which I can't do unless the template is cut. So I did not want to do that, but I don't see a choice. And what they did is they just took a pair of cutters and cut it, you know, right about there, halfway through one side. That way they can bend it up, slide it up in there, and then align the holes, and then screw it in. So I gotta go find me a pair of cutters. Okay, let's see if you can see this. So here's what I'm talking about. So I cut this here, and I've already set the unit in there. So what I'm going to do now is just reach in, slide it on the back side first, and then I can torque it around to the front side. And there we go. With the hole, and you don't have enough light there, but you can actually see it from the front. So I can reach my hand in, and the objectives here is I can take my fingers and I can squeeze it closed in the front for the screws to come in contact with it. So what I'll do is just get one screw started kind of up in the front here. And that's it. Oh, we're finished, so give you a little closer look at it. I'm pretty happy with the edge and how it follows the contour of the body of the guitar. And yeah, so there's the hole in the end, but I'm gonna probably cover that up with tape for now, and then I'll do something creative later. So at this point, I need to wait probably a day or so before I use it, but in the meantime, I can string it up and get it ready. So I'll be back when I do that. Okay, we're back with strings on the guitar. It's actually a couple days later. I decided, since I had the strings off, and I don't do this very often, I don't change strings on this guitar very often, that I would go ahead and do a complete fret level and recrown, which I've done a bit of on a bunch of my guitars in the last couple years, and I've found that it really helps the playability. I had a couple high frets on here, so I think it's a little better now. But anyway, I want to do a little bit of a demo of what the HyVibe sounds like now that we've got it in there. This is the end product. I still got the tape on there. You can see the indentations from the couple holes that were there before. But I know this is a temporary solution, but you see, if you look at it in certain light, you barely see that it's there. And a casual viewer coming in and seeing me pick up this guitar is not really going to care that that's like that. But I will probably, this is just electrical tape. I probably get some nice shiny, glossy black vinyl sticker, cut it to a real nice size and fit it over that, and it might be done. And I'm not going to worry about filling in that with the wood. I don't think it's worth my time at this point. So I got a different microphone set up, so hopefully you can hear this a little better. I think for a cheaper guitar, it's a pretty decent sounding 12-string. I played a couple in the store, and I've always been happy with this guitar. My fingertips do hurt playing this after a while, but it's probably because I'm not used to it. I don't play it as much as I probably should. Anyway, so you hear a little bit of what the guitar sounds like dry. And what I'll do is turn on the HyVibe. One important thing I wanted to bring up, first time you do an install, if you're doing this and you turn it on for the first time, depending on the guitar, this one's pretty hot body, I think, so it generated feedback really easily. And what you need to do, if I go in here, this is hard to do. Switch over to the system menu and go in right away. You might want to hold the strings really hard. You want to adjust the gain here so that the level is at about -6 dB when you play really hard. So strum some really hard chords, adjust your gain. See, mine's at 14. I think the stock that it comes in is like 34. So it's really high. So the first thing you do is go to this menu and turn the gain down. And then when you hit the middle button, it'll say, do you want to do a calibration? And you hold on to the strings like I'm doing and hit yes. And you'll hear that noise. And then you're good to go. You can do that multiple times because it generates multiple calibration files, and every time it does it, it searches for certain frequencies to cut back on for feedback. So anyway, so I took care of that. It's not feeding back anymore, which is great. This has got the stock effects in it. Reverb, chorus, echo, phaser, tremolo, octave, distro, boost, and off. So I haven't made any changes on my app with the effects yet, but I just wanted to demo a couple so you get an idea what it sounds like. There's the reverb. I can turn down the volume of the effects so it's not as... So there's reverb, we got chorus. Let's turn that on. Sounds a little bit too much. Crank down so the slider on here is affecting the chorus. I don't remember what parameter it is. The rate, like the spinning rate. So if I turn that down, then it's not as prominent. I can also turn down the volume of the effects so it's not overwhelming. Yeah. You got phaser. I don't use that one that much. The tremolo's pretty neat. If you turn it down so it's not spinning too much. But I wanted to highlight this. The one that's called Boost is just an EQ boost, and I mentioned this in one of my other videos about how important the EQ can be in this. So this adds a little bit of EQ and boost, and you can really kind of hear the difference. So here, let me turn it off. This is just a dry signal. Add this boost. So that's without the boost, just dry. I'm not sure how it's translating through the microphone. I can hear a little bit more expansive. It's a little bit louder. It's enhancing some of the highs. It just kind of makes it sound more open to me and more presence, which in itself is just a great effect. So there you go. I think that kind of spells it out. It's a great install, a great add to this guitar. I think I'm pretty happy with what I've done here. I hope this was somewhat useful. Again, the whole point was showing that I can rock this in and I should be able to get it out later without having to reach in and take all the cables out. honestly, if I had to take it out, I could do it without pulling the strings out, and I shouldn't have to go through the hole. I should be able to rock this out. Remove the cables, change the battery if I want to, change the cables. Now, might be a little tricky getting it back on because of that plastic ring I need to sort of hold in place to screw it in. But you can probably, might be able to loosen the strings up enough to get maybe a thin arm through there. Anyway, thanks for watching. I hope this was useful, and I hope you all have a great day. Thanks.